One day in the 1950s, in Naples, Italy, a commander gives his future goddaughter a carriage from Versailles, saying it will help her imagine distant places. Young Raimondo looks at his sister's bed with wonder, but their father, Sassa di Sangro, complains that it's too extravagant. The commander, who is also the godfather, insists he only wants the best for the children. Later, Maggie gives birth to a healthy baby girl in the sea, surrounded by family. The commander names the baby after the ancient Greek city seen from Di Sangro's home, inspired by the tale of a siren who lost hope after failing to win over Odysseus. In 1968, Sandrino, the gardener's son and Raimondo's best friend, watches as the older Parthenope steps out of the sea where she was born. He's amazed by her presence. While relaxing in the sun, Parthenope mentions that her family now lives in the center of Naples and hints they have the house to themselves. She invites Sandrino to her room and rests inside the carriage. When he asks to join her, she gently refuses, allowing him only to stay nearby. As he walks around the bed, she seems to enjoy his attention. Later, he asks her to be his girlfriend, but she turns him down. He says the future is too big to know. When he asks what she's thinking, she stays quiet. During her college interview, Parthenope makes a strong impression on Professor Devoto Marotta by staying calm and confident, even when interrupted and questioned strictly. Meanwhile, back at the Di Sangro home, a grown Raimondo refuses to take charge of the shipping company after Sassa retires. Instead, he wants to work on a ship and sail to the Baltic Sea, feeling that happiness is something he may never find. The family gathers on the patio, where Parthenope is reading a book by John Cheever and talking about her kind and interesting anthropology professor. Their father, feeling sad, says that life only seems beautiful when you're young, and that it loses its shine with age. Suddenly, Raimondo burns his lip on hot food. Parthenope gently kisses him on the cheek to comfort him. Their mother, Maggie, notices the closeness between them but says nothing. Later, Raimondo finds Sandrino holding Parthenope's clothing and realizes they both care deeply for the same girl. That afternoon, feeling overwhelmed, Raimondo walks to the shore and stares out at the sea. He steps into the water and disappears for a moment, worrying his family watching from the patio. They're relieved when he returns to the surface. Sassa tells his daughter that her brother is sensitive, just like him. In 1973, Raimondo shares that he plans to visit Capri to meet a woman named Alba Nardella. Upset by her brother's growing interest in someone else, Parthenope walks away from him. At sunrise, Raimondo invites her to sail with him and Sandrino, saying they should enjoy their youth while they can. For a moment, it seems like they might kiss, but Parthenope pulls away and runs into the sea. Later, the three of them go to Capri and sneak into a hotel, living out their small adventure. While Parthenope and Sandrino plan their evening, she notices John Cheever and reflects on the couple's quiet expression of hope. Curious and drawn to him, Parthenope approaches and asks if he would like to go out with her. At a cafe, a woman named Lydia Rocha sees potential in Parthenope and briefly interrupts to give her the number of a top acting coach in Naples. After Lydia leaves, the writer begins speaking about how love confuses him and makes life difficult. He is clearly drunk and unsteady, so Parthenope helps him back to his room, where she sees that it's filled with pages and unfinished stories. She notices a manuscript hanging to dry. Reading a piece about broken relationships touches her deeply and brings her to tears. She quietly tells him that she wants to fall in love with him, but he gently turns her down and hints that he's only attracted to men. Still, he praises her beauty and tells her it will open many doors, just like how conflict changes lives. After he falls asleep, Parthenope looks at herself in the mirror and starts to understand the quiet strength in her presence. Later that evening, at a bar, Parthenope and Sandrino see the man they both admire speaking with a rich stranger. Feeling hurt, Raimondo turns his attention to Alba Nardella. As both pairs walk past each other, Parthenope and Raimondo exchange cold looks, revealing the tension between them. When Parthenope is alone with her date, she realizes she doesn't feel comfortable and chooses not to kiss him. Upset by her decision, he makes hurtful comments and calls her ordinary. Instead of responding with anger, she gives a small smile, quietly amused by how immature he sounds. She leaves the room and goes to sleep. After walking away from the wealthy guest, Parthenope runs into the American writer again. He apologizes for how he behaved earlier. When they finally exchange names, she is surprised to learn he's John Cheever, the author she admires. She tells him she's read all his books and asks if he'd like to go for a walk. He kindly declines, saying he doesn't want to take away time from her youth. Meanwhile, Raimondo stops Alba before they grow closer. He tells her he needs to talk instead, as he's not ready to move forward. Sandrino admits to Raimondo that he has strong feelings for Parthenope, but Raimondo warns him she may not feel the same. Their hopes fade when they see her with someone else. Later, Parthenope invites Sandrino to dance, and Raimondo joins briefly before stepping aside. At sunrise, he sees her kiss Sandrino by the shore, and heartbroken, walks away. While they stay at the beach, Raimondo sits alone, struggling with his emotions. He gazes at the sky, takes a deep breath, and, in pain, slips over the edge. At the funeral, Maggie notices Parthenope stepping away from Sandrino's comfort and grows suspicious, feeling their closeness may be linked to her son's death. Later, at the university, Parthenope asks Professor Devoto to be her thesis advisor. After reading her draft, he quickly dismisses it. Parthenope, holding back tears, explains her topic on cultural views of loss and suicide, which became personal after her brother's death. Moved, Devoto agrees to help but suggests another idea, exploring how different cultures view miracles. At home, Parthenope listens as her mother recalls the night she and her husband dreamed of starting a family, but then suddenly blames Parthenope for Raimondo's death, leaving her shocked. In 1974, still grieving, Parthenope seeks purpose and visits Flora Malva, a former actress who offers theater training. Over time, Parthenope notices Flora always covers her face. Curious, she learns from the butler that Flora hides scars from a past medical procedure. One evening, after dinner, Parthenope follows Flora to uncover the truth. Flora notices, but instead of anger, invites Parthenope to talk. She shares her deep loneliness since her husband's death and longing for human connection. Parthenope asks to see her face, but Flora, hesitant, reveals only part of it as a symbol of trust. Parthenope doesn't realize how lonely Flora is until she quietly leaves the room. Parthenope learns her father has quit his job and spends most of his time watching TV. Concerned for his well-being, she visits him at home. While Sasa believes a grandson would help him cope with Raimondo's death, Parthenope finds the idea unrealistic. On New Year's Eve, Parthenope attends a celebration where actress Greta Kuhl criticizes Naples, calling it an outdated city full of people who avoid their problems. Backstage, Parthenope witnesses Greta argue with a businessman who refuses to pay her, and during the scuffle, he knocks off her wig. Parthenope returns it, and Greta admits she dislikes Naples because it reminds her of her painful past. Greta meets with Parthenope for an acting review, finding her striking but lacking passion for the stage. As Parthenope leaves, she meets Roberto Criscolas, a charming man connected to local power. When he asks about Greta's speech, Parthenope says she found it amusing, and Roberto agrees. He takes her on a fast motorbike ride through the city. Initially intrigued by the attention he gets, Parthenope soon realizes the struggles of the poor as she walks past their cramped homes. That evening, Parthenope witnesses a union between the powerful Criscuolis and Casamiciolis families. A couple symbolizes peace by sharing a quiet moment in front of the crowd. Parthenope, though uncomfortable, offers silent support to the woman under everyone's watchful gaze. As fireworks light up the sky, Parthenope learns that loud sounds make Roberto uneasy. To comfort him, she stays close to him by the beach, near the water where she was born. Their relationship continues into 1975. Parthenope keeps her thoughts to herself, avoiding clear answers when Roberto asks what's on her mind. Parthenope graduates in anthropology from a U.S. university and starts teaching in California. While others have family celebrations, no one attends hers. Professor Devoto notices her sadness and lightens the mood. In the hallway, he teases her about taking so long to finish. She half-jokingly explains that she tried acting before returning to school. Laughing, she asks if he'll tear up her thesis again, but this time he praises it and suggests it could be published with more research. Parthenope is excited about the chance to teach anthropology, though Devoto warns her she might end up like him. She doesn't mind and agrees to return in May. A few weeks later, she finds out she's pregnant with Roberto's child. Seeing her father can't care for the baby, she decides to have a doctor handle the procedure. At the clinic, the nurse reassures her, and the doctor prepares for the treatment. Sandrino visits and explains he moved to Milan because he feels guilty about Raimondo's death. He believes they're both responsible, but Parthenope blames him for distracting her that night. Her harsh words make him question if she's ever truly loved anyone. She tells him he was her first love, but admits it was just youthful feeling and he'll find someone else. When Sandrino leaves, Parthenope kisses him, but he doesn't kiss her back. Later, Devoto asks her to help evaluate students. Though unsure, she agrees. During college admissions, Parthenope gives a pregnant woman a passing grade despite her failing, and Devoto's wife's departure is revealed. When Parthenope asks about the professor's son, he quickly changes the subject and asks about her brother's death. Surprised, Parthenope admits that she and Raimondo gave in to temptation. Realizing the truth in his words, she embraces Devoto when he offers a hug. 7 years later, in 1982, Parthenope shares that she's agreed to write about the saint, Januarius Miracle, while Devoto reveals he will retire soon. He suggests she work at Trento University and eventually take over the Naples anthropology department. During a meeting with Tezzarone, he admits the pressure of performing the miracle every year. When a woman interrupts the ceremony, Tezzarone can't finish the miracle and must wait another year. He tells Parthenope that the distractions made it impossible and advises her to release her sadness in the church, where she can give in to temptation. Parthenope humorously asks why she would cry, and Tezzarone reveals a secret she's only shared with Devoto. She chose to leave motherhood behind. At a party at her old home, Parthenope catches the priest's attention with a flirtatious glance. As women gather around him, he recalls his wise mother, reminding Parthenope of Raimondo, who also knew everything but died young. Tezzarone shares his belief that God gave the gift of childhood to make people happy but got distracted, causing childhood's purity to fade. The next day, the bishop asks Parthenope to wear a jeweled dress. In the bedroom, she asks if he wants to know what's on her mind, but he says he already knows. She gives herself to him in temptation, then asks if he truly understands her thoughts. Tezzarone reflects on time and the troubles of life. Parthenope sadly smiles at the bishop, tears reflecting her sorrow. At Devoto's house, the professor announces his retirement and asks her to take over. He introduces her to Stefan, who playfully giggles as Parthenope touches his belly. Devoto says goodbye with love, watching her closely as she leaves. Years later, Parthenope retires after 40 years of teaching. Her students ask about her personal life, and she jokes about staying in Trento. She admits no one ever proposed and that she never had children, unsure of what she wanted. At her retirement party, she bows like Flora Malva, as if taking her final curtain call. After her death, she remains unsure of what comes next. Back in Naples, Parthenope reflects on her past with Sandrino and Raimondo, remembering a missed summer and the sadness that defined her youth. Standing by the rails in Capri, where her brother took his life, she recalls her loneliness and desire for a love that could help her endure, even knowing it wouldn't last.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and stay connected with us.